Hello everyone, so during this video I'll be restoring and updating my little clay T-Rex named Sue, and going over some interesting T-Rex facts along the way.
Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well, and thank you for tuning into StopMotion. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed the content, comment below what you think, share with your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing if you're new, and be sure you have your post notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new content. Anyway, thank you for your support, it's highly appreciated.
So this has been something on my to-do list, resurrect my old Sue or my dead dinosaur here, because unfortunately, when I first started this project during the pandemic, clay was very hard to come by, and, well, these certain colors were, well, pretty much non-existent, especially the lower half, so now that I actually have a decent stockpile once again, that things have slightly returned back to normal, it's time to do some surgery and give this armature doll a good fix-up. And, well, during this, I probably won't be giving too much clay tutorial facts, it'll be mostly dinosaur nerd facts, because, well, I've gone over quite a few on how to, well, sculpt and stuff like that, so it's about time I shared some of my dinosaur knowledge, I think, because, well, what more appropriate time to do so when fixing one of my old T-Rex dolls. Now, first fun fact here about dinosaurs in particular, most of them actually have what's called gastralias, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is basically a set of ribs on the lower half of their stomach to basically help keep their entire, well, intestines and stuff like that in from falling out, because, well, if you think about it, we're talking about an animal that weighs, well, several tons, and obviously there's got a lot of insides in there that they don't want to be coming out. So, in this case, I'm going to help use that as, well, support, because I've had some issues with Sue basically drooping over time, so we're going to basically add a set of gastralias to give her a little bit more support, basically doing what nature did 65 million years ago. And that's up for debate, I think, at this point, too. 65 million years ago is the average when dinosaurs went extinct, although apparently there are some numbers saying it's 66 to 67 million years ago. As well, gastralias are still commonly found on a lot of animals like reptiles today. I believe it is found on some species of birds, not entirely sure which ones entirely, but is definitely found on lizards for sure. That'll be the first thing you pop up, well, once you Google search gastralias, essentially. Now, also, another fun fact that technically dinosaurs never really also went extinct. They're still around today. Technically, the common form of them is, well, basically birds, which there's about 20 to 30,000 species of dinosaurs technically still living and breathing and, well, soaring around. Definitely not what we had many years ago. However, they technically didn't go extinct entirely, but here's the, well, kind of fact about that. Technically, all birds are dinosaurs, but not all dinosaurs are birds. Now, technically speaking, all birds are basically related to theropods, so basically, technically, your T-Rex, as well as, like, your big carnivores, Allosaurus and Velociraptor, and things like that. And it's actually known at this point, in particular, that the Velociraptor is still got some close relatives living around today, one of which I believe is actually the chicken, and there is some, well, scientists, well, trying to resurrect a dinosaur, believe it or not, through chickens, and you can, well, do some research on that called the Chickenosaurus, but we won't be talking about that today. And seeing how we're on the topic of birds, I may as well give you some more fun facts. Well, I get interrupted by a T-Rex. Now, birds are basically technically a part of the evolutionary tree which is related to archosaurs. Now, archosaurs are basically something that came many, many years before dinosaurs, which is kind of where basically things split off in the evolutionary, well, tree, essentially. Now, to make a complex situation a little less complicated and try to dumb it down the best and brief way I can, essentially, birds, crocodiles, dinosaurs, pterosaurs are all essentially related. They are all kind of reptiles, so they all fall under the archosaur family. Now, different points along evolution, different things split off into different, well, family trees. Dinosaurs being one of them, birds kind of being closely related to dinosaurs, crocodiles being the other form, as well as pterosaurs. Now, I hate to break it to you, some of the pterosaur fans out there in particular, technically pterosaurs are not dinosaurs. They are closely related to dinosaurs because they are archosaurs. However, they are more closely related to reptiles and lizards. So technically, they are a bunch of flying lizards, not dinosaurs. Now, unfortunately, I've gotten a little sidetracked because I'm kind of a big dinosaur fan and I like to nerd about these things, so I should probably talk about a little bit more on, well, the actual dinosaur on hand, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is probably the most famous and most popular dinosaur made, obviously popular by Jurassic Park and various other film franchises. Now, for those of you who are unaware, it's fairly common knowledge, at least in my standpoint, that technically what the name means for Tyrannosaurus Rex means Tyrant Lizard King, which is, well, kind of cool because it's, well, technically not a lizard, but it kind of looks like one. Now, a lot of people are out there kind of have some misconceptions still. 2 years ago, Tyrannosaurus Rex essentially has assumed to be partially feathered. Now, after 2 months of finishing my sculpture, which was partially feathered 2 years ago, scientists made a discovery finding skin impressions, and, well, it was discovered that Tyrannosaurus Rex, in particular, didn't actually have any feathers. That being said, Tyrannosauridae technically is the family branch of Tyrannosaurus Rex. There are certain relatives of Tyrannosauridae that do have feathers. Tarbosaurus being one of them, and I believe there are a few others, but I won't get too far into technical names because I could probably sit here all day listing off dinosaur names. I would be okay with it, but unfortunately I do not have that kind of time frame on this thing, and we should stay focused on, well, the Tyrannosaurus Rex because we know how easily I can be sidetracked because I already started this video talking about birds a bunch. Now, the reason I'd like to stay focused in particular on Tyrannosaurus Rex, because I did end up actually doing a fair amount of homework for this video in particular, trying to give, well, different facts about Tyrannosaurus Rex, because I'm actually kind of, well, obviously a dinosaur nerd, but I'll be quite honest, I've always kind of hated Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that are kind of going, oh my god, you hate T-Rex? How dare you? You love dinosaurs? Yeah, I get it. But here's the thing, technically, Tyrannosaurus Rex is kind of everybody's fallback favorite dinosaur. For that purpose alone, I just never found it that interesting because everybody liked this thing and no one really actually could list any interesting facts about it. So therefore, I just kind of deemed it uninteresting, and technically my favorite dinosaur is Spinosaurus aegypticus, which I've made also, and there are videos that you will check out, obviously, probably after this video, which I have some nerdy information on the Spinosaurus, nowhere near as much as the Tyrannosaurus Rex, because there's nowhere near as many specimens, unfortunately, of the Spinosaurus as there is T-Rex, and there's quite an overwhelming amount of them, and that's why we actually have a fair amount of information about this animal, even though it is quite, well, long dead. It died 65 million years ago during the Cretaceous period and not the Jurassic period. Now, for those of you who base your scientific knowledge off Jurassic Park, this is probably going to be some earth-shattering information, because, well, that's not exactly the best movie to base your scientific knowledge off of. Perhaps in 1993, where things were kind of on the verge of being, well, slow, dumb animals versus highly intelligent hypercarnivores, like you see in that movie. That's about the only scientific knowledge that was basically accurate, unfortunately. Now, there's been 50 skeletons found of Tyrannosaurus Rex in the world. Now, technically, I named mine Sue, which I personally thought for a while there was the world's biggest T-Rex, which upon, well, further research, I was kind of happily, well, disappointed, as odd as that sounds. Sue is technically the world's second largest T-Rex, largest in America for you American viewers. However, I'm from, well, long gone Saskatchewan, and technically, Scotty, apparently the Tyrannosaurus Rex found here is, well, 1,000 pounds bigger than Sue, so ha ha ha! Yay, that's one of the least cool thing that we have here, but actually, technically speaking, Canada is, well, quite well known for having quite a few dinosaur specimens found, especially in Alberta. So, I think I'm going to have to take some special trips eventually in the near future here with my dinosaurs to some museums to Alberta, and obviously the, well, Tyrannosaurus Rex, or the T-Rex Discovery Center, I believe is what it's called, which is the home of Scotty, which happens to be the world's biggest Tyrannosaurus Rex, weighing at 500 pounds shy of 20,000 pounds. Now, just to put that in perspective, that's essentially a small sauropod. And, well, to put that in modern day perspective, that is about 1.5 elephants, or basically a semi-truck with a trailer that is not loaded. And this thing basically was a walking head. Like, they are just massive. I believe the skull proportions on these things is about 5 to 6 feet long and about 4.5 feet wide. So essentially, you could fit in this thing's jaws quite easily, unfortunately. And some people out there apparently believe that, if T-Rex was around today, that it wouldn't be interested in eating a person because you would be too small. And well, to that I simply respond to, you like potato chips, right? Those are bite size. Now, speaking of Tyrannosaurus Rex biting you, the bite force on these things is just kind of mind-staggering. Like, I'm a welder fabricator by trade, so I'm used to kind of dealing with high pressure with hydraulic presses and shears and various things like that. I'll just put this in perspective. The Tyrannosaurus Rex literally just kind of makes all those heavy pieces of equipment I work with look like pathetic little wimps. So basically, doing the number research for Tyrannosaurus Rex, his bite force would have been basically 35,000 newtons is the approximate estimate. Now, to put that into PSI perspective, that's 431,000 pounds per square inch. Like, that's just insane. Like, this thing will rip through a car if it wanted to. Like, it's just, it's basically known for eating bones and everything, and with that kind of bite force, I can see why. Basically, whatever happens to fit in its jaws is basically being immediately pulverized. And that's why it has basically some of the world's biggest teeth, which is also commonly known and has about 8 inches long, or some of the biggest incisors being up to, well, banana size and up to 1 foot. So on the upside, if this thing was technically ever alive, and you did get attacked by it, you basically probably wouldn't feel much. You would be one bite and you would just be absolutely annihilated. However, being attacked by its offspring would probably be far more painful, and there's, well, some scientific debate. Technically, I'm on the side of Nanotyrannus not being its own species. Now, there's been small specimens of Tyrannosaurus Rex with slightly different, well, proportions compared to the adult, which I believe is a juvenile, and some other people are claiming that it's not, and they just want to basically have their claim to fame, as far as I'm concerned, naming their own species. But essentially, it's thought that the baby Tyrannosaurus Rex, or the younger juveniles, filled in different niches in the, carnivore, basically, niche. So these things were probably a little faster and had bigger limbs and were far more aggressive. So chances are you will be basically eaten alive by the babies, being torn apart limb from limb, versus the adult, which would just serve one crushing blow. And there's no way in hell you're essentially going to outrun the baby versus the adult. Now, I'll get into some facts about the actual running speed of Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is still up for debate at this point. Now, just to kind of mention the sculpture here for one brief second, I have added lips onto this thing too, because that is a new common, well, scientific theory that most of these dinosaurs technically did have lips to help protect their teeth. However, dinosaurs did commonly go through them quite frequently, Tyrannosaurus Rex actually being one of them, and it's thought that basically T-Rex went through a new set of teeth every 2 years. And, well, given the amount of bite force that it had to, it leaving teeth behind in various other animals that we have also found, and some people believe that it was actually a scavenger, which is obviously incorrect, because, well, they've found specimens that have, well, teeth healed inside the skeleton, so that's obviously been debunked a long time ago. But, any rate, to put that 431,000 pounds per square inch into some modern-day bite force perspectives, I believe a modern-day human has about 300 psi, and a lion is around 600. So, basically, a Tyrannosaurus Rex has about over 600 times the amount of bite force a lion does. So, yeah, just kind of food for thought, pun intended. Now back to the estimated speeds of a fully grown T-Rex. Now, basically this thing apparently might have not been that fast overall. However, a lot of the dinosaurs at the time honestly weren't that fast either. So I'm kind of on the side of this scientific estimation. Now, that's been done and calculated several times over the years, but technically scientists are now estimating that T-Rex couldn't actually enter a full run. Essentially, a full run is when your feet are leaving the ground for a certain brief, small period in time, and then you're landing back on the ground, sprinting again. Now, it's estimated that Tyrannosaurus Rex did anything close to that, giving its full-grown weight, it would basically break its legs. So it's basically estimated that it could only actually enter speed walk. So your best hope on this thing and surviving is basically sprinting and hoping it basically kind of lose interest in you, and that's that. Now, as we get to the beauty shots, I got a few more fun facts which will debunk your Jurassic Park fans. Now, there's basically no hope in hell you will actually be able to get away from this thing if it even spots you, because it can see you while you move. According to the movie, which a lot of the dinosaurs in that were technically hybrids, basically Tyrannosaurus Rex actually had superb vision. It had eyeballs the size of softballs, like they were massive. So this thing could see up to about 6 miles away, if not more. And not to mention its, well, acute sense of smell. This thing basically had a bloodhound nose on steroids. So there's no hope you would be able to basically get away from this thing. It would know where you are well before you could ever actually even see it, and, well, you probably would be able to maybe outrun it for a brief short period of time, but its overall anatomy is made for, well, long distance. So as soon as you're out of breath, you're done. And then the bite force will just basically crush you. At least you won't feel a whole lot of pain on the upside of things. And another fun fact, it's also estimated that Tyrannosaurus Rex was about the same intelligent level as a chimpanzee. So dinosaurs technically aren't very stupid, so it would definitely be some force to be reckoned with, and it's probably a good thing for our sake that these things no longer exist. Now, unfortunately, that's all the time I have for during this video to nerd out about dinosaurs, and this did take quite a bit longer than expected, which is why I'm kind of behind schedule. So be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the content, comment below what you think, and if you have any interesting dinosaur facts that I left out, be sure to leave those in the comments below, because I'm definitely one to nerd up about dinosaurs anytime, any day. Anyway, we're just going to end the video here with a quick slideshow of the evolution of Sue the T-Rex. As you can see, she started out with partial feathers and then ended up, well, as a slightly chunkier T-Rex by the pond. Anyway, thank you for watching.